Hello there, welcome back to the greatest era of the Pokemon TCG. Today I am going to show you guys a fix that I have sort of found for one of the reasons that I got stuck. So before I actually show you guys the website that I'm going to be using here, I'd like to show you what I'm trying to work on. So this beta-inspired Pokemon template I found on DeviantArt through the artist Icy Cat Elf, and I think it looks pretty neat. So this would be even before the base set, what they had prototyped for what the Pokemon TCG was going to look like. So you can see this is pretty bare bones. It's got all the information that we see on the first generation of cards, and this is a lot closer to what the Japanese TCG looked like, but I cannot figure out how to duplicate a folder in Magic Set Editor to use as a baseline for creating a new template. It used to work, but now I can't figure out why it's either broken or different. I don't know if there was an update at some point where they no longer let you do that, but I'm running into problems that I didn't when I used to do this a couple of years ago. So to get around this sort of snag, what I have done is I've taken some of the information from this is the Photoshop file. Of course, that opens up in GIMP for me because I don't have Photoshop, but you can take your pieces of information, make them visible or no longer visible. So by taking the base, so this is just the texture background, and putting it into the project folders and stuff here on the Dextrous website, I have created a layout for myself. So Dextrous is actually not a card game creator website. This is meant for board games, but if you've played basically any number of board games, there are card components to board games oftentimes. So this is a great website for prototype stuff, but they have a pretty robust program here. Like, you can do a lot of things with it. You've got the ability to upgrade and get your pro stuff. So this pre-rendered template is only available if you've got pro, but you can make your own even if you just have a free account with this website. So that's what I've done, and I've got a template started here. So it doesn't look like a Pokemon card just yet because it doesn't have the background or any of the texture or anything to it, but I would just like to show you guys what I've got going here and show you that this is a very simple editor to use once you understand what all these little icons mean and stuff and all the functionality that this has. So when you start, it's not going to be that zoomed in, but we can get back to that. So it starts here. First thing that I like to do is to zoom in to make the card fill more of the screen, so that way when we are working with it, it's easier to see the finer details. So now we've got it filling up most of the screen. We can see everything that we need here. So these at the top are different zones. So if you want to create a spot on your card that has text, you click here. This is a picture. This is a text zone that has a shape to it. So if you wanted to create something that's a circle, or if you wanted to create something that's an X or a plus or a sword, or you wanted to you can draw your own with this custom shape. You wanted to make like a shield or a well, there's a heart here, but if you wanted to create a differently shaped heart, you could do that in the custom shape. But just to show you guys how this kind of works, we'll go with a circle. So you've got a circle, and then let's say we wanted this to be something down at the bottom. So we do that, and then we want it to be smaller. And you can see as I go up and down and spin it around and stuff, all of these numbers change. So you've got the height and width of the shape, and then this X and Y corresponds with the location on the actual card. So we could do this manually. We could change the numbers here. We could make it 36 instead of 96. So now we've got, instead of a circle, it's an oval. But then we would change the width and make it into a circle again, 36. And then if we wanted to move it further to the right, we would change the X value. So let's say we want it to be more like here. We could change it to 52 instead of, that's not far enough, 172. There, that's closer. And then vertically, up and down, Y is what we would use for that. So let's say that we wanted this to be 294 instead. Okay, so now we've got this down in the bottom corner. So that's closer to what we want. And then once we have that positioned there, we can give it some default text. So let's say we just want it to be a P for power. So now in the middle of this circle, it's got a P for power, and whatever we're gonna put here, that'll change later. So here at the top, I've got the default card name, and this will change once we put information into the file that we use to populate these, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So we've got all these different text things here. So card name, you could have a border around this, like this one here. So if we wanted to do that, we would go to this one where there's the top left corner is straight and solid, and then the bottom right is dash. So that gives you two of the options here. So we select border. If this is not given to you, you can simply click and it'll give you more of the options. Style, let's say we want it to be dotted. So now you've got a dotted border around your card name. We're not going to do that because the Pokemon cards don't have that, but that's how we get the border around the little picture here and the bigger picture here. So some of the options that you get on top of being dashed or dotted is the rounded corners. So I've rounded the top corners of this big box, and the way that I did that was the big card image, I did the rounded corners on just the top, so top left, top right, and then for the Pokedex information, I did only the bottom left and bottom right. So that's how we get this effect where this whole box as a complete entity has just the outer edges of it rounded versus this one, which is which are straight. They're not rounded with those edges. This one has all four corners rounded, and this is of course going to be the evolution box. This one is going to be our energy type. So your water, grass, fire energy is going to get put here. And so this is going to be, of course, blank for now. But then once we get these to a point where we can start filling them in with different information, we'll delete this here for now. So we go out of layouts and we go into projects. So the first thing you want to do is create your layout. The next thing you want to do is create a project for your layout. So I've already done that. And as you can see, I've got some stuff that's filled in here already. So this is going to be a Squirtle card, and Squirtle is going to have 40 HP. You can see that there's nothing here for a type energy icon. That's because that spot is blank, and I don't think we have this in our information here. So these boxes here, card background, name, HP, card art, Evo rule, type, Evo box, and Dex, these come from the template. So we went, or the layout, sorry. The layout is the template, so that's where these come from. But now, in order to get our information here, what we do is we link it with a Google Sheet, and I already have one of these created, so I'll just go there and I'll show it to you. So now we've got card background, name, HP, card art, Evo rule, or evolution rule, and Evo box. So we can put information into this spreadsheet, and then when we link this with the website, it'll pull from this spreadsheet. So this is nice. I like using this because I can get Google Sheets on my phone. So if I'm out and about and I have an idea for a card, I can come into my Google Sheet and I can edit it. I can just put a new row here. So I'm gonna, I think that's how you spell War Turtle. We want to make War Turtle 70 HP. Pretend I'm doing this on my phone, because then this works a lot better. And then evolution box, we want it to say evolves from Squirtle. Now that's the one downside to doing this, is because we have to type in everything from scratch, we don't have the evolves from already there. But you can always just take this, copy and paste, and then delete Squirtle and then input War Turtle. So there are ways to make the process streamlined and faster, but make Blastoise 100 HP. Now, when we go back into our Dextrous, it won't update right away. For one thing, the Google Sheets needs to save, and I don't know if it has saved yet. It doesn't save every second, although it's updating pretty regularly and saving pretty regularly. But if we go back here, if we get this refresh CSV or refresh all CSVs, that will get our new information in here, or it should. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Okay. So before, I had name, HP, and Evo rule were different in here than in the actual layout or the template that I was using. So it was pulling information that wasn't there. So it was looking for lowercase name, and lowercase HP and lowercase all one word Evo rule, but those pieces of information didn't exist in my spreadsheet. So it was pulling nothing, and so they didn't think that there was anything new to add to this template. So then we could put a card background into the information here, but that information actually comes from Dextrous. So I've got that in images, and I've got these type backgrounds here, so I'm pulling from this file that I've got on the actual website, and so they give you space for image files and folders and stuff like that, so you can house that right here, and then you'll always be able to use it. You know, granted, Dextrous always continues and has you know, it always works and stuff. So then you can simply copy, paste, and then it's there. So this streamlines that process as well. So now we want to add something in here for the type. So same thing, the type also comes from, I've got GB energy, so the Game Boy energy icons is what I would like to use for this set. So now you've got this pixelated version of the water energy symbol in the corner, which I think looks neat. So that's what I'm going to be using for this set. Now we've got it on all of our cards, so that looks great in my opinion. you can change a lot of the options based on stuff that you have on your own computer. And what I mean by that is, let's say that we wanted to switch the way that the text looks. So we go highlight this card name here, go into the text option. Down here, if we go font, let's say I don't like this Roboto font. I think it looks nothing like how I wanted to. We can go scroll down here, and then it gives you a bunch of default fonts that you can use. If you like some of these, then that's fine. You can use one of the ones that they give you. But let's say that we wanted the cards to be true to life. We can click this upload here, and then if you got upload font file, if you have a true type font that you would like to upload, make sure that you can access the font file in your computer, save it somewhere that you can find it easily. Just click this and then you can go look for it. I believe I have deleted all of my font files, so I'm not going to be able to do that right now, but once I've had some time to find the fonts that I want, I'll be able to click this, upload that, and then it will make the text look exactly the way that you want it to. Then one thing that the Pokemon cards always have done is this text squash. So if we type way too much to fit into this box here, at least in the way that the font is sized as it is, so I'll just keep typing and then watch what it does on the actual card. So default text goes here, and when the words run out of room, it squashes. All right, let's try that again. So you can see how this is, it's all squished. This advanced text settings, white space, no wrap is what we want. So demonstrating text squash capabilities. And it works like Pokemon. Okay, so again, you want this to get skinnier and skinnier rather than going on to the second line. So text squash in the settings here, you go down to advanced text settings. Make sure that this isn't normal, it is no wrap for your to get it to be the way that it actually works in Pokemon cards. So we'll leave it like this. It's maybe not going to get this long, but what this would say is evolves from Squirtle, and then the second half of this line would say put Wartortle onto its basic Pokemon card, or whatever it says across the top. So that's how you can make it do this. Then the other thing that you can do with these different zones is you can make it always show, automatically show, or automatically hide. And the reason why you would want to do this is because certain cards have certain zones and other ones don't. So if you've got a spot for all your information for a Pokemon, you're not going to need all of that when you have a trainer card. So if you've got this HP number, most trainer cards don't have HP numbers on them, so you would say this is automatic. So it shows the data when it's in your spreadsheet. So if you've got a card artwork that is put here, it'll show the artwork. If you've got that and it's not, then it'll just appear blank. There's no card art or anything like that. So that was a bad example because trainer cards have artwork too, but you get the idea. So if we have an HP number here, because it's a Pokemon, it'll show up here. If we don't have an HP number here because it's not a Pokemon, it won't appear here. Same thing with the energy type. Trainer cards don't have energy types, so this will also be set to automatic. So if there's a logo here for our Pokemon, then it will show up and it'll register that this is a Pokemon. If it's not, if there is no energy icon here, it will hide it, so that way it can look more like a trainer card. All right, then jumping back into the projects page, over on this left side here, maybe you noticed before, but I've got the water types, the fire types, and the grass types all as separate what are called components. So each type is going to be a separate component for this set. And the reason for that is because it's going to make editing in the sheet as well as doing the backgrounds for these much easier. So you might think it's easier to do each of these. So like this would be your Pokemon, and then another component would be your trainers, and another component would be your energies. But I've actually found it to be easier to separate all of these by type, and the reason is because of this card background and then the energy type logo. So taking this and copy and pasting it into all of these cards, and then next going to the fire type and doing the same thing for all of those cards, and then finally when you get to the trainer cards, then you do the same thing for them. And then when you link your Google Sheet, which I'll show you how to do that next, you can pick which sheets to do. So if you wanted to make this just a water, so you right click on the bottom here and you rename this water, and then you want the next one to be fire, and then the next one as grass, and then finally we'll do a trainer one. So we'll take all these headers, all the categories, and we'll put them into each of these. Now for the trainers, because it's not going to have an HP, an Evo rule, or an Evo box, or a type, these can always stay empty, and then the template will know that it's not supposed to display that information. So that just makes it easier to stop yourself from making mistakes before they happen. So if we had the trainer cards mixed in here with the Pokemon, it might be more likely that we would, Professor Oak, and then somehow Professor Oak ends up with an HP of 10, which wouldn't make any sense. And then in the Evo box, there'd be a picture of something. So professor.jpg, something like that. So all the information that is supposed to be reserved for Pokemon cards is now on this trainer card, and so that's going to mess up the way that the card actually looks. So to get rid of that error ahead of time before it actually happens, we'll just separate that into this new tab. So how we get this linked, so we've got this Pokemon beta. What you do is you go into file and then this share right here, and then publish to the web. So we're not actually going to publish this to make a website, but this allows the data to share and to be used by a website. So what it's actually going to look like, it's not going to work if I use the Pokemon beta one because it's already shared to it. But let's say that we wanted to share this untitled spreadsheet and we've got multiple sheets in it. File, share, publish to the web. You'll get this box here. You can link particular sheets, And actually, Dextrous allows you to do that. So if you wanted only to work on the water type, you could go link this component to a CSV. So the component, remember, is one of these tabs. So that's another reason why you might want to separate these out into water, fire, grass types, because then you can link just this component to a particular publishing of your spreadsheet. But for our purposes, we'll do the entire document, and then we're going to switch from web page, because we're not going to publish this as a web page. We want it to be a comma separated value, or CSV file. So the CSV is what Dextrous uses to create its values for the template. So when we click publish, it will ask us if we're okay with this, and we are, so okay. And then it gives us this long share URL. So if we click in this box, it highlights the whole thing, Control C to copy it. And then we go over here, and then when we've got this link component to CSV, it'll bring up our upload CSV. We don't want to upload because we don't have a file, we have a link. So you can see I've already got this here. So this box would be empty. So we simply click in here, and then we paste it with Control V, and then we import the data, and then it'll think about it for a little while, and then it should just give us all this information. So I think that was everything that I wanted to show you guys about Dextrous. I'm going to continue working on this project alongside all the other ones that I'm doing. If you guys remember from a previous video, I said I was going to call this the 8-bit era. This is what that project has kind of turned into. So like I said at the beginning, I ran into a snag and I can't figure out how to do this in Magic Set Editor right now. So if any of you have tinkered around making your own templates in Magic Set Editor, reach out. I'd love to talk with you and ask how that's supposed to work. Or if you know somebody that works with Magic Set Editor who has done that and you can point me in their direction, that would also be greatly appreciated. But for now, I'll just keep working on it this way, and I've used this in the past, so I thought maybe I would just share this information with you guys. So if you are interested not only in the Pokemon TCG things that you can do with this website, but you could also work on other homemade games that you would like to work on apart from this. You know, you can now a little bit about the capabilities of Dextrous, and you can use that to your advantage. So that's all I've got for you guys this time around. Stay tuned for more. If you like what I've been doing and want to follow along making custom Pokemon cards, if you wouldn't mind, subscribe. That would be great. Also, if you want to like the video and share it with a friend of yours, that would also be much appreciated. And until I see you guys again, have a good one.